A Curly Tale, a folk tale from Bihar. The story is written by Vayu Naidu and the art done by Mugdha Shah. In Patna, the capital of Bihar, lived Kalia, a cobbler, and his wife Swapan. They were famous for the special shoes they made. Shaped out of sturdy, shining leather, the shoes curled in front with great style. All the rich and famous men of Patna, there were many in that prosperous city, wore Kalia's shoes. Squeak, squeak went Lallu Bhai as he walked down the main road. Everybody stopped to watch him go by, his dhoti flapping in the wind. Squeak, squeak, squeak went Lakhan Bhai as he sailed past, his shoes squeaking even louder. Everybody turned to watch him, even Lallu Bhai. It was said that the more powerful a man was, the louder his shoes squeaked. Wife, children, and servants heard him coming from a great distance away. Quickly, the children got off his favorite chair and the servant dusted it down. Jadu Bhai, a very important man, had bought himself a pair of brand new shoes from Kalia. He couldn't wait to try them on. But first, he sat on a charpai in his courtyard and puffed on his hookah. He sipped a glass of hot elaichi flavored tea. He sent Bola, the servant, to fetch his betel nut box. Then he put his feet into the new shoes. A strong gust of wind tossed the curtains. The windows banged and the door swung open. Bola rushed out of the house. Jadubai was missing. Bola was afraid. He whimpered as another strong gush of wind nearly knocked him down. He watched with round eyes as a smoky blue mist appeared above the charpai. The tail of the mist seemed to disappear into a pair of brand new curly shoes. Wait, they looked like Jadu Bhai's shoes. Oh, they sounded just like Jadu Bhai's shoes. Indeed, they were Jadu Bhai's shoes. Had his master become a ghost? Hey Ram! Moaned Bola and fainted. Kalia and Swapan lived on the other side of river Ganga, where poor people from other trades lived. Funny, isn't it? Kalia said to Swapan one night as they were eating the last few grains of rice from a leaf bowl. Funny how when people want their shoes, they send their servants to our hut. They talk so sweetly to us because they want their jobs done. Said Swapan thoughtfully. Funny, isn't it? When they have to pay us for the work we have done, they forget where we live, forget even what we look like. They make us beg at their doors and then throw us only a small part of what they owe. Kalia stood up. He picked up the hurricane lamp and raised its flame. The small room grew brighter and the shadows became smaller. I'm tired of being poor, he said. Swapan, I'm going to do something about it right now. I'm going to do something about it right now. I'm going to do something about it right now, imitated Swapan. You have said this so many times before. This time, I mean it, said Kalia. Swapan only sighed loudly. She knew exactly what Kalia would do. Kalia tied a cloth round his head and hurried out of the hut. The hurricane lamp bounced up and down in the huge darkness and the light shone dim. But at least Kalia could see where he was going. Kalia reached a grove of sal trees. He saw a small red light piercing the black night. He walked towards it. The smell of tobacco grew strong. Leaning against a tree sat a man with long matted hair. He wore beads around his neck. The light that Kalia saw was the burning end of his beedi. Kalia knelt in front of the man. "Oh, Holy One," he cried, "only you can help me. Please, please find me a ghost who can make me some money. I'm sick and tired of being poor." Replied the holy man. "Are you sure this is what you want?" "Oh, yes," replied Kalia. "Okay then. Aryo!" The holy man called, snapping his fingers 3 times. There was a swish of smoky blue mist, and a ghost stood beside him. The ghost wore a pair of curly shoes. "But this is Jadu Bhai!" exclaimed Kalia, recognizing the shoes. Yes, indeed, it was the missing Jadu Bhai. "So," grunted the ghost, "I am Bhutram, your servant. What can I do for you?" "Bapre!" gulped Kalia. The ghost's voice sent shivers down his spine. It didn't seem such a good idea after all. But he swallowed his fear and said, "Bhutramji, I want money, lots of money, but no cheating, huh?" "All right," replied Bhutram with a flourish. "Give me some work to do and I will earn money for you. But remember, you have to keep giving me work or else I will eat you up and your wife too." He looked like he meant it. Kalia thought for a moment and said, "It is time to plant the mahua seeds from here where the sun rises to there where it sets." Bhutram pulled out a bag of gold coins from nowhere and gave it to Kalia. "Here you are, Kaliaji. Here's the money that will come out of this job." And he took off in a cloud of smoke and dust. "Aye, so much money!" exclaimed Kalia. He was surprised and a little afraid. "Well, this will last us for the next 3 months, by which time Bhutram would have finished planting the seeds." He ran home to Swapan. Next morning, Swapan awoke with a start. "What is that noise?" she asked Kalia. It sounded like the clatter of vessels. There stood Bhutram, a pot in each hand, ready to throw them. Swapan shrieked. "Where is Kalia? I have finished the sewing." Bhutram snarled. "Give me something else to do, or else I will." Bhutram made a chomping sound. Kalia shivered. Okay, no need to make us jump," said Sapan firmly. "Harvest the mahua crop, all 2,000 acres of it, brew it into wine, and keep it ready for the holy festivities." Bhutram pulled out many bags of gold and threw them on the floor and once more rushed off to do his job. "What a scared crow you are," Swapan said to Kalia, who by now was quaking with fear. "By the time the seeds sprout and the trees grow and the mahua blossoms are harvested, it will be many months." "Don't be too sure," warned Kalia. Sure enough, by midday, it seemed as though the season itself had changed. And indeed it had. The mahua trees were beginning to flower. In a little while, Bhutram returned. The wine was ready to drink. "Oh my God," said Kalia. "He'll surely eat us now. I had better to do something." Kalia raced off towards the sal grove. Bhutram came chasing after him as he stumbled over stones and crashed through bushes. He reached the sal grove and flung himself at the holy man's feet. "Sir, sir, help! This ghost is too much for me. He's even moved the seasons forward. I can't think of any more work to give him. What shall I do?" Bhutram stood huffing and puffing behind Kalia. The holy man looked at Bhutram. At that moment, a puppy dog came by. He had a tail as curly as an onion ring. "Hurry up," growled Bhutram. "Give me something to do, or else." He was really angry now. Kalia and the holy man looked at the puppy. They looked at each other. They nodded. "Okay, Bhutram," said Kalia. "See this puppy here? Catch hold of him and straighten his tail." "You have made me wait so long," complained Bhutram, and ran behind the puppy. "Oh, I almost forgot," he said, and flung bags of gold at Kalia. Bhutram picked up the puppy and sat under banyan. Zoink! He pulled out its tail. But the moment he let go, boing! It curled up again. Again he tried. Zoink! Again it went boing! Zoink! Boing! Zoink! Boing! Hours, days, weeks, months sped by. Banyan's aerial roots began to touch the ground. The puppy grew into a dog, but its curly tail refused to become straight. Many years later, there was a knock on Kalia's door. He and Swapan now lived in a small house. In fact, all the people on their side of the river now lived in sweet small houses. There were trees and flowers and birds. Swapan opened the door. Kalia stood behind her. Bhutram stood there in a smoky blue mist, quite grey with despair. He was sobbing. At his heel stood the dog with the curly tail. "Kalia ji, Swapan ji, please keep this dog and everything I have given you. I promise never to ask for any more work. This dog's tail can never be straightened. I want to go home, back to my sal trees." Bhutram cried. "Certainly," said Kalia, "and thank you for all you have given us and our friends." He went to the holy man in the sal grove and told him he didn't need a ghost anymore. The holy man smiled, and with a whoosh, Bhutram returned to his safe and secret home. So children, I hope you enjoyed the story. You must have observed the beautiful and colorful illustration done for each page. Do you know what kind of art form is this? Well, it is the famous Madhubani art form from Bihar. Now children, here is an interesting task for you. Revisit this story and select any character from any of the pages. Draw it on a paper, and you can also make it colorful and interesting. You can also share it with your friends and teacher during your online classes. Happy drawing!